أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد. We thank the Almighty Allah for giving us an opportunity to be here. We thank Him for His mercies that He's bestowed upon us. We bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except the Almighty Allah. We also bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and His messenger. Today is a Friday, the second day of Ramadan, 1444 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It corresponds with the 24th day of March 2023. This is our first class of tafsir in this month of Ramadan. We ask the Almighty Allah to bless us and to accept from us our ibadah. Before we delve into, the Quran, I'm very happy to see a lot of, youthful and, strong faces, the young ones. Alhamdulillah, this is a very good sign for us. The Ummah always needs two things: the experience and the knowledge of the older folks mixed up with the energy and the power of the younger ones. Any community that wants to really develop and survive needs to blend these two. When we say that we don't need the young ones, it's like a body with only a head. It has nowhere to go. And when we say that we don't need the older folks, it's like a body without a head. It has no direction. So it's very important that, we blend, these two groups of the community. And for us, the young ones that are here, maybe you might not be frequenting the Masjid before the month of Ramadan. This is a time where all of us are struggling with our iman. All of us are trying to get closer to the Almighty Allah. So have a deliberate, conscious effort in this month to strengthen your bond with the Almighty Allah, to strengthen your ties with the Almighty Allah. There is no better time in your life than this moment that you have yourself as young people. Wallahi. If you ask our fathers who are here, they wish they could go back 20, 30, or even 40 years ago to right some wrongs that they did or to make amends concerning what happened those years. So you have a great resource in the fathers that we have here. Get closer to them, listen to them, and then, learn from them, all of us. Inshallah, we're going to start with Surah Al-Fatiha, the beginning of the Quran, and we're going to go straight to my Sheikh Muhammad, to give us some verses of Surah Al-Fatiha. Let's start with A'udhu Billah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen.
The Almighty Allah, in His own wisdom, from time to time sends messengers and messengers to prepare the human race or to return them back to the Almighty Allah anytime there's a need for reformation. So the Almighty Allah throughout history has His agents, who we call the messengers and the prophets, who come down with the message, and then He sends them with manuals, and these manuals help them to guide and regulate the behavior of the people. So the Almighty Allah, as we Muslims are the final ummah, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the final messenger of the Almighty Allah, he was given the Quran. And Almighty Allah gave him this Quran to guide us not only in the spiritual affairs of our lives, but also the physical activities that we go through. And then to also help us to protect our interests and then help us to fend off our enemies. And our number one enemy in this life is Iblis. So the Almighty Allah taught us how to, seek refuge against the evil suggestions of Iblis and his own machinations. If you go to Surah Al-A'raf on the 200th verse, the Almighty Allah says, وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ
وَإِمَّا يَنزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ.
The Almighty Allah says, if Iblis gives you some evil suggestion, young men, you hear, or even the older folks, you have some evil suggestion in your mind to do something bad, to do something evil, to do something wrong, something that is going to cause harm to yourself and harm to other people, the Almighty Allah says, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ, then seek refuge with Allah. Innahu Sami'un Alim. Allah really, He listens. Alim, He is well aware of what's going on. Sometimes we are filled with anger. Someone has done something bad to us, or someone has offended us. So we want to retaliate. We want to, pay them back. The Almighty Allah tells us in Surah Al-Mu'minun, idfa' billati hiya ahsan.
idfa' billati hiya ahsanu as-sayyi'ah. Nahnu a'lamu bima yasifun.
Naam. وقل رب أعوذ
بك من همذات الشياطين وأعوذ بك أن يحضرون.
The Almighty Allah says, if anything happens to you, try as much as possible to pay evil with good. When someone does wrong to you, try as much as possible in paying them back, do something good. So two wrongs never make right. When someone does something wrong to you, don't think of retaliating in a way that will hurt the person. So the Almighty Allah says, idfa' billati hiya ahsanu as-sayyi'ah. Pay back or repel evil with good. Nahnu a'lamu bima yasifun. Don't worry, the Almighty Allah knows the kind of machinations or descriptions or the kind of plots people are having against you. وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ. And say, oh Allah, I seek your refuge against the incitement of shaitan. Sometimes the shaitan that pushes you, hit him back. Get a stick, get a club, hit him on the back of the head. You have all these going in your mind. If you have these, incitements, if you have all these evil suggestions, you say, Rabbi a'udhu bika min hamazati shayateen wa a'udhu bika Rabbi an yahdurun. And oh Allah, I seek your refuge from the shayateen coming closer to me and then being a part of my life. My brothers, it's true. We are battling with a lot of emotional and psychological issues, especially in this country, where you have a lot of bills to pay, you have a lot of people to contend with, you have a lot of ideologies going on, you have a lot of friends, especially young ones. You go to the public schools, people provoke you, they push you at the back. You're training for soccer or training for football or basketball. Someone pushes you intentionally to hurt you, and then you are enraged and your whole face turns red because you want to react. Remember, your reaction might be worse than the action that the person has done towards you, and then you end up in trouble waters. How do you deal with people who harm you, who infuriate you, who try as much as possible to push the wrong buttons to make you, to make you furious to the extent that you want to grab someone by the neck? The Almighty Allah tells us in Surah Al-Fussilat, idfa' billati hiya ahsan.
وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ.
Naam.
idfa' billati hiya ahsan. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ.
Naam.
وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم.
The Almighty Allah says, وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ. Good things are not the same as bad things. Good actions are not the same as bad actions. Good life is not the same as a bad life. Being a responsible member of the community, you will not be the same as an irresponsible member of the community. And brothers and sisters, Muslims, we owe it a responsibility to the community to be responsible members of the community. The fact that some people have unfettered freedom to do whatever they want to do doesn't mean we are also the same. We are Muslims. We have a relationship with the Creator. We have a connection. We have a covenant with the Creator. And the Creator has rules and regulations for us. Other people do not believe in the Creator, so they can do whatever they want to do. They can drink, they can smoke, they can do bad things, they can do alcohol, they can fornicate, they can do whatever they want to do. But you as a Muslim, you have ethics, you have codes, you have rules and regulations. So we have a borderline between good and bad. We have a morality, we have a sense of standard for the life that we live. So وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ. Good is not the same as bad. إِدْفَعَ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. When someone does bad to you, you repay them back with good. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ. Wallahi, you find someone that there is serious enmity between the two of you. But when you repay them back with good, or when you engage them with good, كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ, he's going to be like a devoted friend that there is no way you're going to be separated. Giving back with good, not necessarily giving someone a gift of money or material things, but relationship with people. تَبَصُّمُكَ فِي وَجْهِ أَخِيكَ صَدَقَةً. You meet your brother and then you even smile in his face. It's a sadaqah. When someone has bad relations with you, the person has enmity towards you, you meet them and then you say salamu alaikum to the person, trying to break the ice between you and the person. Wallahi, it's a good way of drawing the people closer. So don't pay bad with bad. And then don't let people drag you down into the gutters that they are in because of some lifestyle they are leading. And then he says, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. You will not get this act unless you are patient. Patience is a very, very key component of living in this dunya. Wallahi, be patient. Think twice before you react in any situation. Try and take yourself out of the moment and stand aside and see yourself like a movie and see what is going to be the consequence of the action that you're going to take. وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. And nobody gets that except the person who has great, chance with the Almighty Allah. The Almighty Allah, we're still speaking about seeking refuge from shaitan. We're still on A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitan Rajim. That some of the actions that we find ourselves in is wasawis shaitan. It's incitement from shaitan. It is suggestion from shaitan that will make us, sometimes we do something bad and then later we realize that no, we're not supposed to do that. Our own selves, we begin to what? We begin to rebuke ourselves. And it's something that we need to have constant reminders upon. Shaitan is not only, deceitful to us in our day-to-day activities, even in our salah. Shaitan has issues with that. There is a hadith in Sahih Muslim where Uthman ibn Abi al-As al-Thaqafi comes to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَقَالَ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ قَدْ حَالَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ صَلَاتِي. He said, Ya Rasulullah, Shaitan has found his way in my salah. وَقِرَاءَتِي, even in my reading in the Quran. يَلْبِسُهَا عَلَيَّ أو يُلَبِّسُهَا عَلَيَّ. He mixes my salah for me. Sometimes you come to the masjid, you want to pray alone. Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. The fathers here will understand this better. Maliki Yawmiddin, and then you remember the bills that you must pay. Indina sirat al-mustaqim, sirat al-ladhina anamta alayhim. And you remember, you must do this, you must do this, you must do that. By the time you realize the imam has gone to ruku, Allahu Akbar. There is this joke that someone came to pray and then he had only $1. And then the $1 is a coin. That $1 coin in his pocket. That is the only money he has. But he came to the masjid to pray. So Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And then he remembers all the problems, the financial issues. And then he remembers that he has $1. So he checks the front pocket here, the breast pocket, to check whether the money is there. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He touched the place and the money was not there. He said, in Salah. He said, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. He touched the right pocket and he didn't feel anything. He said, And then when he reached Wal Ad-Dallin, he touched the left pocket and then he felt it. He said, The money is here. So even in Salah, sometimes Shaitan plays with us. Shaitan plays with us. So this Sahabi came to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu and said, Ya Rasulullah, Shaitan, is giving me issues in my Salah, in my recital. He mixed it up for me. And the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu said, ذَاكَ شَيْطَانٌ يُقَالُ لَهُ خِنْزَبْ أَوْ خَنْزَبْ أَوْ خُنْزَبْ. Any of these three is right. That shaitan who disturbs you in a salah is called khinzab, or khanzab, or khunzab. All these words, all these three pronunciations are right. فَإِذَا أَحْسَسْتَهُ. If you feel him in your salah, in the salah, especially in the tarawih, now that the imams recite long, sometimes you lose concentration. Sometimes in the salah, you start some thinking and stuff. Either ahsastahu, if you feel it, that no, you're losing concentration in salah, fata'awwadh billahi minhu. Say a'udhu billahi 3 times on your left, and then you spit a'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim, a'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim, a'udhu billahi min shaitanir rajim 3 times, and that's it. Qala فَفَعَلْتُ فَأَذْهَبَهُ اللَّهُ عَنِّي. And Uthman says, I did that in my salah, and then I never felt shaitan disturb me in the salah again. So shaitan is our major enemy. Even the shaitan even prevents us from even, pondering over the Quran. If you go to Surah An-Nahl, verse 98, the Almighty Allah says, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ
فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ لَهُ سُلْطَانٌ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ إنما سلطانه على الذين يتولونه والذين هم به مشركون. نعم.
فإذا قرأت القرآن, when you are going to read the Quran, فاستعذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Seek the refuge of the Almighty Allah from Shaitan الرجيم, the cursed one. إنه ليس له سلطان على الذين آمنوا. Shaitan has no power over those who believe. وعلى ربهم يتوكلون, and then they rely upon the Almighty Allah. If you believe the Almighty Allah and then you rely upon the Almighty Allah, Shaitan has no power over you. إنما سلطانه على الذين يتولون. The power of Shaitan is upon those who take Shaitan as their ally. والذين هم به مشركون, and those who associate partners with the Almighty Allah. This verse is very deep. What is wilayah to shaitan? What is taking, being an ally to shaitan is, you know very well that this thing is wrong, but you are engaging into it. You know very well that what you're going to do is wrong, but you're going to engage into it. In some cultures, someone is going to gossip and they look left and right and say, Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah, and then they gossip. My fathers understand this. They look left, right, and it's Astaghfirullah, Astaghfirullah. And then they gossip. You know very well what you're going to do is wrong. They're not engaged into it. May the Almighty Allah safeguard us. Shaitan does not only disturb us psychologically or emotionally, Shaitan also disturbs us physically. That is why anytime you travel, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us a dua. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu says, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he travels and it is night time, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a dua. He says, Ya ardu rabbi wa rabbikillah. He says, O earth, my Lord and your Lord is Allah. A'udhu billahi min sharriki. I seek the refuge of the Almighty Allah from your evil. وَشَرِّ مَا خُلِقَ فِيكِ, and the evil of whatever is created in you. وَمِن شَرِّ مَا يَدُبُّ عَلَيْكِ, and the evil of whatever moves on the surface of the earth. وَمِن أَسَدٍ وَأَسْوَدٍ وَمِنَ الْحَيَّةِ وَالْأَقْرَبِ وَمِن سَاكِنِ بَلَدٍ وَوَالِدٍ وَمَا وَلَدٍ. I seek refuge from snakes, from lions, from scorpions. Maybe in this part of the world you don't come across them, but from where we are, from the part of the world that we are, you're passing and then a snake greets you and then he moves away. Yes, you see scorpions passing by. This is prevalent in other parts of the world. So Islam is a religion that encompasses people's cultures, people's times, people's places, and people's spaces. So this dua might look weird to you because you're in America, you live in, in an industrialized, residential area. You don't see snakes, you don't see all these things. But then this dua is mainly to seek protection from the Almighty, for the Almighty Allah, from the evil that might be at any place. Maybe you travel, you enter into a hotel, you check into a hotel. Before you enter the hotel room, you need to seek refuge from the Almighty Allah against the evil of that room. You don't know what's in there. And then the moment you sit into the room, try as much as possible to do your ma'athurat. Read Qul huwa Allahu bi Rabbin Nas, bi Rabbil Falaq, Ayatul Kursi. Read these verses. And try as much as possible when you enter into the hotel room, before switching on the television, open the Quran on your phone and let it start reading Surah Al-Baqarah. It's very, very important. We take a lot of things for granted, but then a lot of things are harming us psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, that we are not aware of. And then we think it is other things. But then little changes in our lives, in terms of our spiritual lives, wallah, will bring a lot of benefit for us. Even when you are sick, there is the hadith of Uthman ibn Abil As al-Thaqafi. He came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, since I became a Muslim, or even before I became a Muslim, I have a pain that I'm feeling on my body. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, place your hand where you are feeling that pain, and then say Bismillah 3 times, and then say 7 times, A'udhu billahi wa qudratihi min sharri ma ajidu wa uhadhir. He said, I seek the refuge of the Almighty Allah, and I invoke His power against the evil of the pain that I am feeling, and then any other pain that might inflict me or afflict me later on. So even if when you are sick, even if when you are feeling pain, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim is very, very, very important. Very, very important. I'm not saying don't go to the hospital. No, that's not what we're saying. Don't say, this sheikh is saying, no. You go to the hospital, you take your medications, but at the same time, you also read these incantations from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim has a lot of, importance. Khawlat bint Hakim said she had the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, Man nazala manzilan. Anybody who comes to an abode, who, gets to a place. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe it's a service area. You're tired, you want to park and rest. Wherever you find yourself. ثُمَّ قَالَ, and the person says, أَعُوذُ بِكَلِمَاتِ اللَّهِ التَّامَّةِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ. I seek the refuge of the Almighty Allah with the words of the Almighty Allah completely min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what the Almighty Allah has created. Lam yadurruhu shay'un hatta yartahil. No evil will befall you up to the time that you are going to depart from that place. Our religion is a religion of both physicality and spirituality. Islam is both physical and spiritual. Some people, if they cannot get you physically, they will get you spiritually. That is why we believe in the evil eye. Some people will look at you and they destroy your life just by looking at you. Don't tell me you live in a technological advanced world, so these things mean gibberish to you. No, it's true. It's true. Some people are evil. Some human beings are bad. Some people do not wish well for you. Understand this. Not everybody who meets you and then smiles in your face loves you. Understand this. Grow up. Grow up. Not everybody who sees you likes you. Some people are envious. The fact that you have an iPhone, someone is mad. It's a fact. That is how life is. Understand this, young men. كم من صاحب يلقاك إناقا ويقسم لك بالله أنه لا يطيق لك فراقا ملك كريم في مظهري شيطان رجيم في مخبري إذا لقيك بوجه أبي بكر وقلب أبي لهب. A lot of people, كم من صاحب يلقاك إناقا. Someone will meet you, he is smiling. He kisses you, he hugs you. وَيُقْسِمُ لَكَ بِاللَّهِ أَنَّهُ لَا يُطِيقُ لَكَ فِرَاقًا. He swears to you by Allah, oh Sheikh, if you're not around, I cannot leave. If you're not around, I'm not okay, I'm not fine. مَلَكٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي مَظْهَرِ.
Subhanallah.
He looks like an angel, his appearance. وَلَكِنْ شَيْطَانٌ رَجِيمٌ فِي مَخْبَرِهِ. But he's a shaitan behind closed doors. إِذَا لَقِيَكَ بِوَجْهِ أَبِي بَكْرٍ. If he miss you, he brings the face of Abu Bakr Siddiq to you. وَقَلْبِ أَبِي لَهَبٍ. But his heart is that of Abu Lahab.
Subhanallah.
Understand this in life. So, this class on A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim is very, very important. Seeking refuge of the Almighty Allah against the evils. The Prophet Muhammad said, كُلُّ ذِي نِعْمَةٍ مَحْسُودٍ. Everybody who is blessed has people who envy him and jealous him. Understand that. Don't take things for granted. Don't take things for granted. Listen, the fact that you are living a beautiful life, someone is not happy about it. When you are preparing to go to bed to sleep, someone is awake at night thinking of how to pull you down.
Subhanallah.
This is life. And these are the realities of life. Expect that. As young people that we are growing up, expect that. You know very well in your own boys squad, someone who snitch. You have that. Yes. You know that. He says, his smile is like, how does the sheikh know the word snitch? I'm also a street boy, man. Yes. So this is physical. Someone who snitch. And there are people who go long ways just to destroy you spiritually. Wallahi, you find a group of people, young men, he's young, maybe in the teenage age, very industrious, very, very vibrant, very, very influential. He gets to his 20s and then he starts doing drugs, he starts doing all bad things, and then you're like, how? What happened? Where did he go wrong? It's not everything that happens to us that is physical. There are a lot of spiritualities also attached to that. May Almighty Allah safeguard us.
Amen.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim has, a lot of, ways that we can say it. And part of the importance of saying A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, there is hadith in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim where Sulaiman ibn Sard said two men came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam arguing and fighting and pulling each other, even insulting each other. One of them was so angry that his face turned red. He was filled of anger. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at him and then he said, Inni la'alamu kalimatan. I know a word, I know a phrase. لَوْ قَالَهَا لَذَهَبَ ذَا عَنْهُ. If this guy was to say that statement, was to make, to pronounce that statement or to make that statement, this enrage, this fire that is burning in him, that fire will be quenched. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فقام إلى الرجل رجل سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And then another man who had heard what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say went next to the man who was furious. هل تدري ما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم آنفا. Do you know what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam just said? He said, what did he say? He said, قال إني لأعلم كلمة. I know a word. لو قالها لذهب عنه. If you say that word, this rage that you have will go away from you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. And this guy, he got more furious. He said, أمجنون أن تراني. Do you think I'm mad? Why did he say that? He said, since he's going to say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, and then that rage will go away from him, he feels like, do you think I'm mad? The story here, or the moral here, is that some people, when they are angry and then you want to, calm them down, that is when the fire goes up more. So it's part of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if you are angry and furious and you are standing, sit down. If you're sitting and then you still feel that boil, just lie down. And you're still boiling, perform wudu. And still boiling, perform 2 units of rak'ah. Islam is just teaching us that don't retaliate in a way that later you regret. Don't have a reaction that later you bite your fingers. So Islam teaches us all these things. One day there's a hadith, I'm not really sure of the authenticity of the hadith, but it's part of, the A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, that a man came and then he was insulting Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu in front of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Abu Bakr never retaliated. He kept quiet. The man went on and went on and went on. And then when Abu Bakr Siddiq responded, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got up and then he left. So later Abu Bakr was like, Ya Rasulullah, what happened? He was insulting us and we didn't respond. When we responded, you left. He said, I'm not angry with you. But when he was insulting you and you didn't retaliate, Shaitan was one side very, very annoyed that you're not retaliating. But the moment you retaliated, Shaitan was in a happy mood that he's got you finally. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I don't want to see Shaitan being happy. That's why I got up and then I left.
MashaAllah.
So and some buttons, when they are being pushed, things go haywire, as we say here. Things turn into something else. But then the moment, someone comes to us and say, Sheikh, be patient. It's very difficult, especially when you are on right and the person who is wronging you is wrong, and then you know very well that you are right. That is when Shaitan tries to, give you all those boosters. No, don't you see that you are right? He's wrong. Why are they supporting him, not supporting you? Try as much as possible to find a way around that, those problems. And then finally, there is also another one where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anytime he's going to pray in salah, he says, A'udhu billahi as-samil alim min ash-shaytanir rajim min hamzihi wa nafthihi wa nafthihi. This dua, you are seeking refuge of the Almighty Allah from Shaitan, min hamzihi, from the struggles that Shaitan is struggling with you. What are the struggles of Shaitan? You are trying to do good and Shaitan is pulling you back to do evil. You are trying to run away from evil, Shaitan is pulling you back. You have done something bad some time ago, you've repented, and then Shaitan is trying to, beautify it for you and then pull you back. These are the struggles we have with Shaitan every day. True of us. True. All of us go through that. And especially young people where you have, you have high energy levels, your blood is boiling. And let me make this point. Wallahi, young people that we are here, you live in a country or in a society where, the atmosphere is sexually charged. And it's very, very dangerous for your future. I say this, young men, if you're not married, close your legs. Close it. Don't allow a 5-minute enjoyment or pleasure cause you a 25-year headache. The fathers understand it better. The fathers understand it better. Don't allow a 5-minute pleasure give you a 25-year headache. Wallahi. I know the food you eat increases your libido high. The things you see, the girls, especially now we're in spring, going to summer, you see all kinds of, women walking the street naked. And you are here, a young Muslim, you go to the gym, you do all this iron pumping and all your testosterone levels are going high, all this libido high, and then you are not married, and wallahi, protect yourself. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's as simple as that. It's not easy. In the end, you have that 5-10 minutes enjoyment. She's pregnant. She's grabbed you for the rest of your life. Child support. You're dead. You know it's better than I do. Imagine you are an 18-year-old boy or a 15-year-old boy and you impregnate someone's daughter. And what's going to happen? You are a child paying child support. That's the fact. You are a child paying child support. With that little amount of money that you give out every month, if you are saving that money, let's say you are paying, let's say $500 a month. If you're able to save that money, $500 a month, in a year you have $6,000. And then imagine giving this money, 500 every year, $6,000 for 18 years. 6 times 10 is what? 60,000. 8 is what? 48. $108,000. Because of 5 minutes of pleasure. That's how much you must pay. So you need to take care of yourselves. Wallahi. And fathers that we have here, try as much as possible to arrange marriages for these young ones. Let's do that. In as much as we are encouraging or advising the young men not to, fall into these things, let's give them the halal way. Fine, he's in school with his wife. He already has a room in your house. Get them married. Let the girl come and stay in your house. They go to school together. They do whatever they want to do together. You protect his iman. You protect his reputation. You protect him financially. You protect his future. Because the moment a young man in America impregnates someone's daughter and then they're not married, that is the end of him. You know it. The laws are going to descend on his head. So as we advise the young people, the fathers should also try as much as possible to have these arrangements in a way that the young people will be protected. Some of you young men, when we go into your rooms, your bedrooms, your bedspreads, you have different kinds of maps on it. You don't understand it. You have different, some of you have the map of US, some have the map of Canada here, and then some have the map of Africa. I mean nocturnal emissions. When you sleep, you have nocturnal emissions. And these are facts for men. And when you are of age, you have those nocturnal emissions. And it's not easy, especially in the country that you find yourself. You eat all this cholesterol food and all your libidos go high and you're facing this challenge. So, a'udhu billahi as-samina ali min ash-shaytan rajim min hamzihi, the struggles of shaitan. Struggling with you. Wa nafkhihi, and then the arrogance that shaitan brings. Arrogance. It is a disease. Wallahi, you are not too important to be nice to people. You are never more important to be nice to people. Be nice to people. Bring yourself down and the Almighty Allah will raise you up. I'm not saying have a low self-esteem. No, that's not what we're saying. Have a high self-esteem, but then also be humble. Islam hates pride. Islam hates arrogance. Islam hates looking down upon people. I am the one sitting here doing the tafsir, but it is my sheikh here who is reading the Quran. When I say he's my sheikh, I really mean it is my sheikh. And our fathers are here. But does that mean I'm better than them? No. Does that mean that I'm the most knowledgeable person in the masjid? No. It's just that an opportunity has been given to me to share whatever I have. And that's it. When you understand that, wallahi, the Almighty Allah will take you a long way. But when people realize that you are arrogant, they won't come next to you. When anytime people come next to you, you look down upon them, You have a look at them, you have some word for them, you have some attitude to them. Someone says Salaam alaikum to you and you're like, Alaikum salam. No, that's not the attitude of the Muslim. The Muslim is someone who is open. The Muslim is someone who gets closer to people. The Muslim is someone who is beneficial to people. There's the hadith in Sahih Bukhari where the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-Muslimu man salima al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadi." The Muslim is the one that the Muslim community is safe from the evils of his tongue and the evils of his hand. Arrogance. And young people that we are here, with our fathers that are here, wallahi, let's build a respectful relationship with our fathers. This is the secret of our barakah. This is our culture. You might disagree with your father. It's possible. It's human life. But then he remains your father. She remains your mother. Wallahi, even if your parents are not Muslim, that right that they have over you of parenthood is still valid. It's still valid. Don't ever utter a word of disrespect to them. When they say, do this, even if it's against your will, do it. You know why? I always say this. Any child who doesn't call his father daddy, his kids are also not going to call him daddy. It's a deep statement. Don't take it literally. Let me give you an example. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was with his father. His father was not worshipping Allah. His father was even the chief priest for the idol worshippers. But when Ibrahim was calling him, what would he say? Ya abati, ya abati, ya abati. Oh my father, oh my father, oh my father, oh my father. When Ibrahim gave birth to Ismail, to cut a long story short, Ibrahim was ordered to slaughter Ismail. And what happened? What did Ismail tell his father? Ya abati fa'al ma tu'mar. Oh daddy, do what you have been ordered to do. The obedience that Ibrahim gave to his father, he was rewarded with an obedient son who was ready to be sacrificed, to be slaughtered to serve the Almighty Allah. So sometimes your father or your mother will want you to do something, so long as that thing is not against what the Almighty Allah wants, then you are allowed to follow them. Maybe dad says, I'm just giving a simple example. Maybe you have some pants that you wear. And the pants, sometimes some of you young men, you wear some pants that, I don't know, they've been pants that have been cut, your thighs exposed, stuff like that. The latest fashion in town. I don't know, sometimes you people, I don't understand you. We back home in Africa when we were kids, if you wear tattered clothes, you are mad. But here is the sensible people are the ones who wear the tattered clothes. It's strange. That's the craze of the age. I saw on social media this, one of these designers, is it Balenciaga or so? They were, advertising for a jeans that was ripped apart. Ripped jeans, $2,000, $5,000. So like, what? So for example, you wear, this jeans, that has these cuts, and then your father says, no, Muhammad, I don't want to see you wearing these jeans again. Daddy, this cost me $200. He says, no, I don't want to see you wear these jeans again. Put it aside. Put it aside. Wallahi, some of the mercies and the blessings we receive from the Almighty Allah is through being obedient to our parents. So arrogance, nafsihi, Imam Noor spoke about this on the minbar today concerning music, bad words. Seek refuge from the Almighty Allah concerning these bad, profane words that we have, that people, always, do. So generally, this is some of the virtues of A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. But I want us to look at the meaning of A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, just word for word, and then we call it for a day, and tomorrow we look at Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When you say Al-Istiaaza in the Arabic language, it means Al-Istijara, which is seeking neighborhood. You are seeking to be a neighbor of someone who has the abilities and capabilities to protect you. So when you say A'udhu Billah, you are seeking to be a neighbor of the Almighty Allah, get closer to the Almighty Allah to protect you from the evil that is around. You don't understand the word A'udhu. So anytime you say A'udhu Billah, it's like I'm seeking closeness to the Almighty Allah. This closeness with Almighty Allah will protect me from what? From evil. So that's the meaning of A'udhu Billah. Ash-Shaytan, when we say Shaytan, man shatina idha ba'uda anil khayr. Anything that is Shaytan is something that is distant from good. Shaitan is anything that is distant from good. Shaitan doesn't necessarily mean a jinn only. You have even human beings who are shaitan.
Yeah.
You have human beings who are shaitan. So shaitan comes from the root word shatina, and anytime you say shatin, anything that is what? That is far away from good. And then there's a lot of linguistics here that I don't want us to delve in. But when we say ar-rajim, ay al-mub'adu anil khair. Ar-rajim is also something that is what? Far away from what? Good. But the word ar-rajmu is ar-ramyu bil-hijara, stoning. When you want someone to be far away from you, you throw stones at them so that the person will be far away from you. So when you say a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, what you are saying is that I seek refuge, or I seek closeness with Almighty Allah against anything that is far away from good and anything that blocks good from coming to me. That's what we are saying. This is a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. We'll take some questions and then inshallah we'll call it a day. Naam, tafadhal. Alaikum salam.
So you saying that you in a particular situation,
Naam.
doesn't matter what situation you're in, if you say I will be there to follow regime, that means something's supposed to activate, like whatever
Yes.
you're enduring.
Naam.
Like protection is granted automatically.
Now, yes, the Almighty Allah promises us that anytime you seek refuge from the Almighty Allah against these evil things, the Almighty Allah gives you that protection. But then as to how its manifestation is going to happen, Allah knows best. But then when you invoke the Almighty Allah, in the khutbah, the Imam recited the verse, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. The Almighty Allah answers the prayer of the person who is what? Who seeks that from the Almighty Allah. So the Almighty Allah gave us that assurance. Seek refuge from Him, He's going to grant that what? That refuge. Now,
If you are in Salat and Shaitan comes to you,
No.
you are confused. It's A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim
No.
3 times.
on your left. Now, now,
And suppose happen constantly,
now.
you continue to do the same.
Yes, if it happens constantly, if the shaitan keeps on disturbing you in the salah, continue doing, the A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Don't leave the salah. Continue doing that. And part of, the ways where you can stay concentrated in the salah, for example, if the imam is reciting in the salah, that the recital is loud for you to hear, try as much as possible to go along with the imam. If you know the verses that he's reading, try as much as possible to go with him. If you don't know the verses that he's reading, try as much as possible to concentrate on the reading. Try to immerse yourself in the reading of the Imam, even though you might not know the verses that he's reading or you don't even understand the language. But if you understand the Arabic language, then you can be pondering over the verses that he's reading. But if you don't understand, try to immerse yourself in the reading of the Imam. These are one of the ways whereby you can stay alert in the Salah. If it is Salah that, for example, Zuhur and Asr, where the Imam's recital is not out, you must do yours, then try as much as possible to what? To concentrate on your reading. You see, as I said earlier on, Islam is you fall, you get up. You fall, you get up. You fall, you get up. Don't fall and then sleep. No. When you fall, try and get up. That's it. So the more it continues, the more you seek, refuge, from shaitan in that instance. Now, let's take this question and then we'll come to you. Alaikum salam.
Like you praying by yourself, praying alone.
Now,
And then outside you praying alone. And you forgot, and you forgot that how many rakah
now,
So in that state, shaitan make you forget.
now.
Maybe you think
Maybe it's 2 or is it 3?
and then you say maybe it's 3
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it's 4. And that's still hacking.
So if you're praying and then you're confused, is it 2 rakats or 3 rakats? You return it to the lesser one. You build upon the lesser one. That's what you do. And after that you do ba'di. Anytime you're praying and then you're confused, whether I've done 2 rakats or 3 rakats, you always take it as the lesser one. Because if you take it as the greater one, when in reality it's the lesser one, you see you have what? You have a gap in the salah. But when you take it, you have a deficiency in the salah. But when you take it as the lesser one, even if you've done more, your body, recompenses for that. So anytime you're in salah and then it's whether more, less, take less, and then you do ba'di. Allah alam. Now.
Assalamu
Alaikum salam.
As you spoke of a specific situation like when the Prophet, peace be upon him, traveled.
Now.
And for some of us that travel constantly,
Now.
or most of the time of the year we are traveling,
Now.
and we stop to the rest areas,
No.
like you make mentions of. What my question is, if you don't know the extended supplication in Arabic,
Now.
can you just say "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim" and continue the rest in English? Is it okay?
The Almighty Allah understands every language. The only time we are obligated to use the Arabic language is when we are in Salah. You don't do Fatiha in English. You don't come and say, God is great. No. That's the only time. But then other du'as, even some of the scholars are of the opinion that even in sujood, the du'a that you do in sujood, you use the language that you understand most, even in salah. So if it comes to seeking refuge from the Almighty Allah, since A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim is the basic one that we all know, every other seeking of refuge from the Almighty Allah, do it in a language that you are comfortable with. Allah listens, Allah understands, and Allah A'lam. Now.
Man, so I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up watching anime. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's like characters that use certain things and then they activate a power. I'm thinking that making dhikr and saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim is like a superpower in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking in my head, like when the Sahabas was in battle,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the Battle of Badr.
No.
They make dhikr while they was at war.
Yes. The Sahaba used to do dhikr. The Sahaba used to pray even on battlegrounds. Yes. Salah was so important that even in war, they used to offer salah in war.
Does that grant them more strength?
Hmm?
Does that grant them more strength?
It-
So A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim or saying Bismillah and then it strikes.
Yes, it grants them strength. It grants them. You see, sometimes we look at these words as if they're just mere words that we say.
That's what I was thinking.
Sometimes that's how we relate to these words. That I say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, I say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I say Ayatul Kursi. I'm just doing some lip service. No, immerse yourself in it, and have the belief that the Almighty Allah is going to use these words. Okay, let me give you an example. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going to hijrah, when the kuffar had ambushed his house. The seerah tells us that he picked sand, he recited وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا. We put in front of them a barrier. وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا. We put behind them a barrier. فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ. We caused them to collapse. We caused them to faint. We caused them to go into coma. فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. They couldn't see anything. And then he poured the sand on each and every one of their heads. Before he left, they had ambushed him to kill him at dawn because they knew at dawn he would come out of his house. So Abu Jahl looked for strong, able-bodied men and gave each and every one of them a fresh sword. So they knew that they're just going to hit him, one man hitting, and then that's it. They only opened their eyes when the sun rays hit their faces. By the time they woke up, he was long gone. So these incantations or these phrases or these dua that the Almighty Allah has given us, wallahi, they are not just for lip service. They are very, very potent. They are very, very powerful. Let's not take them just for only lip service. They're very, very potent. They're very, very powerful. So just to return to, the Sahaba used to pray in battles. Sometimes before the battle, if the enemy is facing them, so they're facing them, a group of the Sahaba will begin the salah with the imam facing the enemies before battle. So the first group will perform one rak'ah with the imam, and the second group are alert with their weapons. So if you, the group in the first group, go to ruku or sujud, when these people are going to attack, they see that there's a group standing waiting for them. And then when these ones do the first rak'ah with the imam, they go back, and then this second group comes and then joins the imam in the second what? In the second rak'ah. And then they do taslim together with the imam. It's a very complicated one. Sometimes if it is time for salah, and then they are in the heat of the battle, in killing the kuffar, they are praying salah. In this time, there's no need for at-takbir, Allah akbar, Allah akbar, la ilaha illallah. No. You do your salah individually. So salah, spirituality in Islam is very, very important, even to the extent whereby, even in times of wars, these are very, very important. I think our time is up. So at least brothers will prepare for iftar. And if you can take one last question, or if not, then...
Real quick.
No, wa alaikum salam.
Just for a better understanding of what he was saying,
No.
those words, you have to have the yaqeen and evidence
No.
behind
No.
them. The iman
No.
has to be attached to it.
No.
You have to
No.
actually believe.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, just, I would believe.
No.
You gotta,
Yes. So thank you very much for that addition. You have to have the yaqeen and the belief that yes, it's potent. Yes, the Almighty Allah. Yes, have that belief. Because the Prophet Muhammad said, "Udu Allah wa antum muqinuna bil ijaba." Pray and then have the conviction that the Almighty Allah is going to accept. So don't do "Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirah." No. Pray with the conviction, with the belief that the Almighty Allah is going to accept. It is part of the reasons that the Almighty Allah accepts our dua. Doing dua with the conviction that the Almighty Allah is going to accept.
Even though I'm a regular person, I'm no one special.
Of course. All of us are regular, all of us are special. Understand that? Listen, spiritual relationships with the Almighty Allah is between you and the Almighty Allah. Our levels of iman are not written on our faces. I can say, Sheikh, remember me in your dua.
Yeah.
That's allowed in Islam. But then for me to have a belief that you have a special powers, that if you do dua, yours is going to accept it, and mine is not going to accept it, or yours go faster than mine, that is not Islam. But then there are people that you see that, no, this guy has, a sign of iman, and you wish the person good, you have, good thought about the person. There's nothing wrong with saying, oh, Sheikh, this Ramadan, don't forget us in your dua, don't forget us in your prayer. This is allowed in Islam. But then, as to whether that dua is going to accept it or not, that's only the Almighty Allah who decides that. There is not a group of people whereby the Almighty Allah says, for this group of people, whether I like it or not, I accept their dua. We don't have that in Islam. So all of us are regular. In some situations, all of us are special. Because our iman, the level, it goes up and down. You see, in the month of Ramadan, our masjid is packed full. The levels of iman have gone high. And please, those brothers who hitherto before Ramadan do not come to the masjid, let's not utter some bad words to them. Let's rather encourage them to come to the masjid more. It's important. All of us are striving with our iman. We are all struggling with our iman. Let's rather be the people who uplifts people. Wallahi, you don't know. This might be the turning point for that person with Almighty Allah. So be a part of that what? Of that renaissance, of that revival, of that renewal of that person. Don't be the person what? Moves out. He comes to the masjid like, hey, you, so you're a Muslim? No. No kind of statement like that. MashaAllah, welcome. Have a seat. Open the spaces for them. Let them come closer. Wallahi. Because that's what the deen is. The Prophet Muhammad said, بُئِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ I was sent to perfect people's manners. It means the people that he was sent with, their manners are a little bit turbulent, not stable. So he was sent to what? To help them to perfect their manners. So as Muslims, we are supposed to help other Muslims to be better Muslims all the time. So advice, a friendly hand, a friendly heart, that will keep them steadfast on the deen. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I just have one question.
نعم.
Your Sheikh, give us just some background.
نعم.
Recitation is beautiful.
Now, the Sheikh sitting next to us is visiting us from Benin Republic in Africa. He has a master's degree in fiqh and usul, the fundamentals of fiqh from the International Islamic University of Malaysia. And he's our Sheikh. His name is Sheikh Muhammad Awal Fofana from Benin, Cotonou. He's one of the imams of a masjid in the capital called Bulgaria Masjid. I don't know how they named that masjid Bulgaria. I need to ask him. And he is a colleague of my father, in terms of my father doing his dawah across West Africa. So he came to visit us. Actually, he first landed in New Jersey. But when he heard I was here, he said, no, he must come and come. So he's going to be with us in Ramadan throughout. And inshallah, even today, I think in Taraweeh, he's going to be with us in Taraweeh, inshallah, today.
He's welcome, and I hope he's still with us.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
inshallah.
إيه نعم.